Good morning and welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to the half-hour, I want to make sure I get all this right, half-hour radio program that airs every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. thanks to that wonderful partnership with the Lees. Also, a video program that we upload to our YouTube page. So if you're listening on the radio, you want to see what we look like, go to YouTube, just look up St. Lucie Children's Services Council, and we have a whole separate page for Community Connections, all those videos. So I think you can go back pretty far to see what we look like when we started the show when we were 12. But also, if you want to always stay on top, if you're like Sean, sometimes I missed the radio program, I didn't even know there's a video program, we've got an even cleaner and easier way to make sure that you always get the information, and that is because this little radio program that's all about connecting you, the listener and viewer, to resources that are available for children and families is also a podcast. Now, if you've never heard the word podcast before, you can just skip over this next 2 minutes. But real quick, a podcast is a way for you to subscribe on your phone or whatever device. And when there's a new episode, when we record a new show, it's automatically pushed to your phone or device so that you can always stay on top. Because you know what? We are fancy that way, and we believe this information is so important that everybody should have easy access to it. So that podcast on all major platforms, including Apple, Google, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera.
Multiple ways
to
get into it.
So as I already mentioned, it's a way, this show is a way for you to connect to resources and things that are available for children and families in our great community we call St. Lucie County. Now, why are we doing this show as opposed to another entity or, quite frankly, a radio and or video professional? It's because at the Children's Services Council, Ashley and myself, the entire team, the entire board, we have 5 main focuses that we make sure that there's programs and resources available in these 5 priorities. And those priorities are: 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby; 2, stopping child abuse before it happens; 3, keeping kids off the streets; 4, keeping them in school. I was waiting to see if you were going to nod with me. And 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors, again, by offering programs and providing support to these programs so that they can exist to serve all families in our community.
Yeah, and there's, obviously we have the multimedia aspect of the show covered, but of course there's different ways that you can learn more about those programs too. So the show is not the only one. We also have a great website you can visit at cscslc.org. It has a list of all of our funded program partners along with their contact information. And we have just made public our summer program information too. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But all of the contact information for our programs is there with a brief description of what they do. But I always like to say, if you are looking for something in particular for your family or for a coworker, just trying to make a recommendation for a friend, and you can't quite figure out what the best referral might be, just call our office. Anybody who answers the phone can really talk to you about what's available. But sometimes it's important to have that conversation too. So we can talk to you about what programs are there. We can give you those referrals, but all of the information is accessible on our website. So you can find it there. We also share a lot on our Facebook page. So you can find upcoming events there. You can find kind of spotlights about places that we've been or things that we're doing in the community. But we're getting to that really busy time of year. Sean and I were talking about calendars this morning. We're like, man, there's a lot going on. So the website, Facebook is a good place to kind of stay in touch so that you don't miss any of those fun things that are happening in our community.
And I want to talk about something else before we lead in with summer and then to our guest. But I will also just mention that this visual, our program guide, our family, what's it called technically? Our family guide to programs is available. It's on our website for you to download. But if you want a paper copy, if you're like Sean, I would like to have this in my car so that when friends and families and neighbors say, hey, I'm struggling with whatever it may be, you can be like, hey, let me go into this phone booth, which is your car, come out with your superhero uniform on and bring this guide and connect them to the resources that can help their family. And if you have a place of worship, a place of business, and you would like some of these in your lobby for families to pick up so that they're aware, obviously we want them to listen to the radio program but we know that's not going to happen every Sunday. So a way to shortcut that is just to grab the guide. It's very short, very family friendly, and it lists all the resources that are available through the Children's Services Council, through your Children's Services Council. And I think we even advertised a radio show in there. So
look at that. Just a reminder that you need to be listening to the radio show. That's all.
Or, you could be one of those people, and sometimes I'm one of those people where they'll be like, I need a resource. You could be like, there's this show called Community Connections every Sunday. I suggest you subscribe to their podcast and re-listen to some past episodes. You could do that, or you could just say, hey, I've got the program and resource right here. Let me hook you up with the phone number.
So actually, fun fact, now through the podcast and also on the YouTube channel, the program that we spotlight on that show is listed in the title. So if you were, for example, looking for information on the YMCA, you could find the show where we talked to Perla from the YMCA and watch that show to learn more about it. So you can really do that. You could pick and choose which shows you watched based on the information that you were looking for.
We should have a little contest. We haven't done this in a while, and I used to give out my cell phone number, and I'm stalling because I'm trying to remember it exactly. It's not often that I call myself. But we have little leftover Bluetooth speakers. I believe we do.
We do.
That we gave the kids when they performed in the concert. I think that if somebody texts me, and I'm going to give my cell phone number, an image of them having subscribed to the podcast, you got to take that screenshot on your phone that shows that you subscribe, not that you just pulled it up to get the speaker.
Not that you found it.
And hold your breath. It's not like a great speaker, I'm just being honest. But if that's a possibility, if you're interested in subscribing to the podcast, take a screenshot and text it to me at 772, I wrote it down, 237 1130. Again, 772-237-1130. And text me a screenshot, and we'll set aside a Bluetooth speaker for you to come pick it up.
That's exciting.
Unless we get like 1,000, and then we're out of Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah,
but
first
limited quantity. But I'm not worried about 1,000. Trust me.
Yeah.
And Ashley, if you want to talk for a second, I'll double check that that's my phone number.
That's helpful information. Yeah. So the other thing that I kind of briefly mentioned that is on the website now is a link to our summer learning programs. So I know I feel like summer is getting here so quickly. I don't know if I'm the only one that like blinked and April is over, but summer is coming, and I know that if you have kids that are going to be at home, you are already thinking about where they are going to be for the summer. So we have released the list of the summer programs that we are working with this summer. And just as a reminder, all of the camps, the experiences that we work with have a vested interest in continuing education throughout the summer. And or if they are working with teens, they also have a focus on career exploration or vocational pursuits. So there's a lot happening in our programs. You can find them all by going to our website, again, at cscslc.org. I think actually if you put in /summer22, it will take you right to that page, and you can find all of the programs that we're working with. We have made an effort this year to detail the location of each of those programs, the hours of operation, and the fees that they are charging. So hopefully that eliminates any questions that you might have if there's something that you're looking for, but all of that information is there. We're actually going to talk to one of those programs today, which I'm excited about. But please, if you don't know what your kids are doing yet this summer, take a look at that list and see if there's something that might interest them. I can already tell you, I told Sean this morning, some of the locations are already filling up. A lot of them have kids that come to them after school all year long. And so some of those locations are already filling. So don't miss out because you waited too long. Just take a look at that list and see if there's anything that your kid might be interested in, and contact them right away to get signed up. And
two things before we get to the guests. First of all, I did confirm the cell phone number to text your picture subscribing to the podcast is 772-237-1130. Again, 237-1130. The other thing is when you go to the website, you go to cscslc.org, right on the news and announcements, you'll see the summer listing, but right next to that is also our annual impact report that summarizes our past year efforts to improve the quality of life for all children in our community. So it's a very quick read, but if you want to see what your Children's Services Council has been up to, including all its program partners, take a quick gander at that as well. All right. I'm going to let in the guest.
Yes, I'm super excited. I don't think she's ever been a guest on the show before. At least if she has, it's been a really long time ago.
I think
Maybe
she's been on the show.
Oh, she has?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I was wrong then. But we are really excited to have her with us today. One of probably the newer programs that we have funded the last couple of summers is through a partnership with Indian River State College. And specifically, you know, I feel like there's a lot of conversation that happens around STEM education. That's the buzzword right now, right? Like everyone wants to talk about STEM. So this was a program that we got really excited about. And I'm glad that we've been able to keep doing it for the last couple of years. And so today we have Natalia with us from Indian River State College, who's going to talk to us about that program. So thank you for joining us first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure.
Natalia, before we get into the serious part of the interview,
Sure.
we had a conversation about how you were going to enter the radio program. You were going to turn around with some
Sean had really high expectations.
Like I thought that was really going to happen.
Repeat. We can start from zero.
You know, Sean likes to put people on the spot on the show. I should have given you a warning, Natalia.
Natalia, you've been on the show before, right?
I was, yeah, but what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Do I not remember that? Was it in person? Back when we did things in person?
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. That's when the memory erased.
It was 2 years ago, but it really feels like it was 20. So I get it, Asha.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So no, Natalia, tell us, I guess, I don't know where you want to start. I know there's kind of a special place for you at Indian River State College and what you get to do. And that's kind of how this program came about. So I don't know if you want to back up and start all the way there. Or if you just want to jump into the details, I'll leave it up to you, wherever you want to begin.
Well, let's start maybe with the bigger picture first, and then into the details, pertinent details, and the ones that are actually require some action. So, big story is that nowadays, right, we are kind of facing a big dilemma. We have technology, science, growing fast, dictating how we live the life, right? How we communicate with each other, what we focus on our lives, right? That is already in place. Our scientists and technologists, they have a fantastic jobs embedding this in our life. However, what we are facing trouble or problem with is the technical workforce, what we call a middle skill workforce, that is not present currently nationwide. And what it means that there are really not a lot of qualified people who know how to troubleshoot, repair, maintain, systemize, work, do that kind of a high level work on a high level instrumentation. So that's where across all of the technologies, we're seeing pretty much the same scenario. And what we start focusing on is like, you know, how do you eat an elephant, right? Or how do you put an elephant in a car? You just do little pieces one at a time. Specifically, our program start focusing on a technology that's called photonics. Although it might sound a little bit more like, I'm not sure even I heard that word. It's optoelectronics, it's your cell phone pretty much, you know, it's your computer, it's your TV. It's anything that has electronics and has optics, some form of. We use a fancy word for that, photonics. Yeah, that emerged back in like 70s maybe. So in here, we actually see a huge gap where we don't have skilled people, where we have huge shortages. I don't think if you've seen anybody like growing up, you know, middle schooler saying, hey, I would like to be in photonics. You know, I've never seen that happening. You know, I've been in the field for 10 plus years. I haven't seen that yet happening. So that's what we're trying to make sure that students are aware of those paths, career and academic paths that may somewhat different than traditional paths that we know. Because right now, when we say engineering, what is engineering? You know, what is science? You know, it's such a huge areas that need to be subdivided in those kind of a micro levels. So that's what we're doing as Laser-Tec. We are funded by National Science Foundation. We're headquartered here at Indian River State College in Florida. So being a national center that kind of driving development and sustainability of the technical workforce. We're very proud to be here in Fort Pierce in Florida at the Indian River State.
You know, that's really cool. And honestly, I don't think that people talk about things like that enough. We like to bring it up when we talk about children's services councils because they only exist in Florida, at least in this function. And so I love that you mentioned that because I think that is something for our residents to be proud of. There's a national hub for this kind of thing happening here. That's really cool.
Yeah, I always felt like we've been the best kept secret, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, we're definitely moving along 44 colleges right now across the nation, trying to establish and move their program. In some cases, you know, they're all in different stages. Some of them in the stages of development, some of them in the stages of expansion, some of them in stages of just starting. So, but they're a network of 44 colleges that are trying to push the programs and sustain the programs. And Indian River State College is the benchmark for all of them.
That's very cool.
So
A very strong program here.
You mentioned eating an elephant in a car, which is a new wrinkle to that expression. I don't know if that's a takeout or a drive-through thing or what's happening there, why it's in the car, but you're attempting to eat the elephant in the car piece by piece. And you kind of do that through part of that is happening through our partnership that we have with you in the summer.
Yes, definitely, because you cannot build a workforce without a very strong extended pipeline of the talent coming. And most importantly, that talent needs to be local, because that's where we will see all of those, hubs, local hubs, economic hubs developing. And that's what we actually see right now in the region, that are really fast, solid, robust economic growth with the profiles of companies ranging, it's a pretty wide range of companies that we have coming here. And there are more and more technical companies and technology companies coming here into our area. So it would be really fantastic, right? If we would just apply the local talent to those companies and keep the kids here, keep the talent here. And that will kind of start that avalanche process of revamping Port St. Lucie, revamping our county, putting it on the map as not just the highest growing community, but the technology hub or the science hub. That would be really good. That's eventually the goal.
That's really fun. So when you're talking about that extended pipeline and like what those conversations look like with teenagers, or you said middle schoolers, even in middle school, what does that look like? What kinds of skills are you guys talking to them about or focusing on that are going to eventually lead them to those positions or a future in photonics?
Well, they usually don't like how I start math. That's the first thing I start saying, guys, at least we need to be kind of friends with math and science. We don't need to be Einsteins, of course, in an oversimplification of the issue. We definitely would like students with some kind of a solid background in fundamental sciences. Most importantly, we would like them to have that drive. And we would like to inspire them to learn. We inspire them to tinker with stuff, break them down, put them together. The general curiosity of, how does that work? Can I pull it apart and put it back together without any missing parts so that, we're not missing all of those bolts and nuts eventually. So that mind, the curiosity mind, is probably the major trait that we would like. Everything else we can teach. Everything else we definitely can help them develop and then expand. That's how we start. They always, of course, they say, what is your favorite subject? Well, math and sciences unfortunately happen to be not their favorite subject. And that's, of course, kind of sad to hear, because those are beautiful things, beautiful, very applied areas. As a matter of fact, as we unfold sometimes those fundamental sciences and math into applications, students are really, they get inspired because they're like, oh, now I understand why you're, torturing me with the quadratic equations. Now I understand why I'm learning the graphs, and everything else associated with that. So we would like to really bring that kind of a sterile drawing into the reality or into the real application that can be used. And, you know, through years, we've been doing it for several years now, actually close to a decade. I definitely see a general growth, you know, in general interest again. Like I would like to learn more about it. I would like to be in this field. What do I do? It used to be that I really have to pull people in. Now it's definitely a nice foundation that it's much easier to build on.
I think one of the things, and we'll talk about like how people can get connected to the program, but I think one of the things that's been really cool to see with your program specifically is how you have taken kids who have participated in the summer camp and either employed them in later summers, or I think even one of the instructors this year was a previous student. And I think that's really cool because it kind of gives the kids who come in the idea that this could be part of their future and they could see themselves in roles like this. So I love that part of it, that you guys have kind of found a pathway for the kids who have come through.
Definitely. This year we will be relying even more on talent. We will be having 2 TAs, you know, teacher assistants, who've been previously part of the program. And so they will be teaching, you know, they will be assisting us in keeping up, you know, teaching kids how to program, how to assemble things. And most importantly, of course, our lead instructors. One of them is a graduate of our electronics engineering technology program at Indian River State College. So
Cool.
yeah, it definitely is a community.
So with our remaining, we have about 9 minutes or so left. Let's talk about, because if you haven't picked up already, listeners and viewers, we're talking to Natalia, as Ashley led into it, because Natalia runs a camp over the summer for youth in our community in St. Lucie County that's focused, obviously it's fun, but it's focused on education around technology and lasers. So let's talk a little bit about the logistics. What's the age ranges? How do they register? And I know in this conversation, we talked a lot about math and science, but I'm assuming you don't lead with that in the advertising. So let's talk about like what kids can expect when they come in and how it's, you know, it's not just math and science, like it's fun for them, right?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a program that is 8-week program. It kicks off on June 6th and goes all the way to June 28th. Correction, July 28th. It is at Indian River State College on the main campus, Massey campus, Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock to 5. So students are going to be here throughout the whole day during the week. We will provide, of course, with all of the necessary things the student need to include the food and snacks, you know, because that cognitive power needs to be sustained.
That's important.
Very important. So the program is actually focused around hands-on, building those hands-on skills in electronics, modern electronics, not just your typical, you know, grandfather's electronic. No, we're talking about the modern electronics. We'll teach you how to design a circuit board, how to build a circuit board, how to troubleshoot a circuit board, how to solder. That's a very important skill to actually have, especially on Christmas, you know, when you need to solder those Christmas lights. Not doing that anymore, but we will teach you how to operate Arduino. It's a really cool microcontroller that kind of a small computer embedded in all of our smart systems nowadays. So now not only you will have, or students will have an opportunity to build a system, they'll have an opportunity to program that system and do a specific task. So there's all kinds of functionalities behind those systems that there will be about 30 different projects that they're going to be building and programming. So with the use of Arduino, most importantly, once they complete those projects, they will take them home, because those projects can be then expanded to even higher level. And that's what we'd like them to encourage to do. So they will have the booklet, they will have access to us, they definitely will have an access to the tools to continue building those skills and exploring more and more what they can do. In addition to that, of course, it's not going to be just programming and building, right? We will also play a little bit with drones. We'll learn how to fly a drone. We'll have some competitions when it comes to that as well. We will introduce a little bit more sophisticated robotical systems in the program. So they will actually build a vehicle-like robotical systems that students will also build and program, and then maybe a little bit of a competition there as well. See who's faster, who's more mobile, who's more agile, stuff like that with those robotical systems as well. So there's definitely a rich program. They're not going to be bored during those 8 weeks.
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah,
They're going to be busy.
They usually, yeah, they come home tired, and we have from parents, like they come home tired.
Right. If anybody has been listening and has a kid at home who is interested in some of those things and thinks, hey, you know what? I don't have anything for my kids to do this summer. Where's the best place for them to get more information, and what's required of them to get registered?
So the easiest way now is to go to a website, Laser-Tec. Laser is a laser -tec.org. So, and just search, for Emerging Technology Summer Learning Program. All information will be there. So is the link to registration. This year, we're limiting the registration to high schools only, or rising high schools or high schools only. So if you qualify, please go ahead. It's not going to cost anything, to a family or student, thanks to our beautiful partnerships. That's it. You're welcome to call me directly, 772-462-7295. That phone is also available on the website. And then in just a week or so, folks are welcome to visit IRSC website, Indian River State College website, the calendar section. Some information will be there as well. So you have pretty much 2 paths to register.
So I think you glossed over one really important part that I just want to go back to, and that's that there's no cost to the families for this program, which is, after listening to you talk about all of the things that they get to do, all of the things that they're going to learn, even some of the things that they're going to bring home, the fact that there's no cost to families is really amazing. And I think it's a really important aspect to point out, that this may be the best foot in the door for some kids who are interested in this, that wouldn't have another opportunity to learn more about it.
Absolutely.
And correct me if I'm wrong, not correct me if I'm wrong, please clarify the age range for the students?
So it's a rising high school or high school.
High school?
So
okay.
Going into 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade.
Yep, you got it.
And I know the website, I'm actually on the website right now. It's laser-tec, and tech is tec.org. And can you repeat the phone number again?
772-462-7295.
All right. And then also, as Ashley mentioned, it is a free program and a partnership between Children's Services Council and Indian River State College. I'm actually on the website, and I can see a friend of ours who goes by Girl with the Laser is on one of your prominent pictures. And so that's kind of cool, because
That's very cool.
Not only is it fun, like I think you had most of the parents, and if there happens to be a teenager listening, you probably had them at drones. Like they're gonna be like, yeah, I want to come because I want to do drones, but they're walking away with a skill to kind of whet their appetite, but also a skill that can lead to, as you mentioned before, very much a future pipeline to be in this technology field, correct?
Absolutely. Building the skill is the core of this program, and most importantly, getting their feet wet, because many of them are just not familiar with those paths, and we definitely need to open up the horizons, open up the opportunities that are available, especially here locally. So embrace with those 2 major goals we're running forward. And
that pathway to a career, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a pretty good paying career too, correct?
It's a pretty good career. It's a pretty good career, and it's definitely in need. I'll tell you that we can bring up some beautiful statistics with the higher placement numbers, and of course, higher wages, local and national, in the field.
That's awesome. That's impressive.
So Natalia, if I'm interested, I'm a grandparent, parent, caregiver, and I'm like, I want to sign up because I know that the seats aren't endless. How many students do you take a summer?
Well, this summer we actually did a little bit of a magic, and we stretched from 30, as we originally planned, to 50.
Oh, wow. Good.
50 students. We'll try to run 2 parallel sessions going on. Students will have an opportunity to hop on, hop off during those 8 weeks. So we actually broke it into 4 different sections, each section of 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that we can cater to more students. And so one student will not hold the place for all 8 weeks if he or she has like other responsibilities, obligations and so on. So they will hop off and we'll take another student during that event. Because yes, definitely the seats go fast. We fill up pretty quickly. Last year we filled up within 2 or 3 weeks. So that's why we did everything possible to continue doing, high quality, deliver the high quality lab and hands-on environment and very interactive camp with the resources that we have available. So
I would encourage everybody, if you have a teenager, a high school student, or incoming high school student, or a junior now, or going into their senior year, to call, because Ashley, you and I talk about this all the time. It's hard to find programming that keeps and maintains teenagers, right? Just open gym and open playing kickball and stuff doesn't hold a teenager's interest. But trust me when I say this camp will hold your teenager's interest and prepare them and introduce them to a skill that they can take with them for a lifetime and make a wonderful career out of. And I would encourage everybody to go to Natalia's website, which is laser-tec or tech.org, or call 462-7295, because there are only 50 slots and they will fill up, and we want our listeners to have first crack at it, if you will.
sure.
So,
yeah, looking forward.
Thank you very much for coming on. We greatly appreciate
Absolutely. That was fun.
it.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll come out for drone day. That would be kind of fun.
I want to see the robotics competition. I want to come for that day.
Yeah, all the above.
Yeah. I will send you the schedule. Just come over.
We'll be there.
But you will have to participate because there's some,
All right. Well, I hope you have good insurance on that drone. I have a history of having cheap drones given to me at Christmas, and I have a history of crashing them into the wall.
I'm sure you
and then they're no longer operational.
No, let's not go there. Okay.
All right. Thanks again, Natalia, for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
We want to thank all of our listeners and viewers. Reminder that it's a weekly radio program every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. Also a YouTube video program, for better or for worse. Just go to St. Lucie Children's Services Council, look up our community connections page. You can see all past episodes. But if you really want to be in the know and always on the go, because I just made a rhyme, subscribe to Community Connections with Children's Services Council podcast, and you won't miss an episode ever. Thanks for tuning in, and it's a reminder that it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, folks. We're all in this together. Sign up for Natalia's camp. We'll see you next time.
In a world where seconds could be the difference between life and death, I realize I was born for this. I am prepared. I am present. I am Dad, the Water Watcher.